And we're live. Alright. Hello, Internet.
Finally there. Oh, my phone is letting me know we went live too.
Hey. Alright. We just gotta do show notes real quick, and then we will be good. Phone just blew up that I went live. Don't Not delays Vampire until 2018, but I don't know if that's an RPG or not.
I don't know either. I know it's I know it's choice centric.
Right.
So I mean, you could argue it's an RPG from playing a role.
Right.
But I don't know either.
DX2 Shin Megami Tensei Liberation. Oh, that's the smartphone RPG. Never mind. Probably nothing we're getting over here.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 9 is out on PS4.
I heard they gave it trophies.
Yeah, they sure did. Apparently there's 2 trophies that are just a bunch of bastards. Have you heard about them?
No.
One is getting 100 jumps in the jump rope game. 100 jumps in a row. Which I think is impossible. The other one is I guess there's some weapon you get for beating the game in less than 15 hours. And you have to do that. So
screw that.
Yeah, like those 2 trophies, like I understand how to get the jump rope one, like that's just a lot of time. But hearing about that other one is sort of like, wait, really? Hello, the donut pug. It's sort of like, is that Final Fantasy 8? You could probably beat that thing in like 8 hours, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for tweeting about that Final Fantasy Ultimania Archive Volume 1 thing the other day.
Isn't that cool?
That looks pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's way cheaper than I thought. I think it's only $30.
Right now, like, it went down, too. It's $23.99 on Amazon for Prime. So
buy that. No, I can't.
But it doesn't come out till next summer, either. So you have plenty of time to save the money.
Put away $1 or 2 every month. I'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Those books are supposed to be really, really good, and I'm glad. I'm glad we'll be able to get them here in some sort of official fashion. I hope they're gonna do the rest of them, because I think there's one for every game. It's my understanding.
Man, that'd be cool. That'd be real neat. That'd be a nice. Like, for me to buy physical books anymore, I really want something special out of the physical things, so...
Yeah. I only have one news story, I think. Oh, that's alright. We'll do our famous 2-hour intro, 2-minute outro. Okay, let's put this in here. Nope. That. Launching on October 31st. If that's the case, then we won't actually take a break. Oh, okay. Oh, do we have any questions in Discord? That's what I meant to do. Let's check while people swing in here. Discord, where are you? Hello, Discord. Computer, what the hell? Cool. I guess I won't use Discord.
You want me to post in there for you?
No, I was just trying to open it to see if we had any questions in there. I'll just use the web version.
Okay.
Open.
Yeah, I've really liked a Discord. I didn't realize how integrated it was with Steam.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
It's real cool. I got on to play a game with a friend the other week, and I'm like, so what do you want to talk on? Skype or whatever? He's like, dude, let's just use Discord. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just pressed the call button in the chat thing, and it worked. And told us what games we were playing.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually had a podcast business meeting on Discord. It worked really well. Hold on, I gotta answer Destiny question here. Somebody was trying to hop into Trials solo.
That sounds like a bad idea.
And thankfully in this one they don't even let you. A lot smarter with party stuff in this one, where it very clearly tells you like there are not enough players to start this thing. You need to get the right number of peeps.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, podcast questions. Nothing. Okay. Okay. I think I'm ready. Do you ready to kick this thing off?
I believe so. Yes, I am.
All right. Yeah, in my throat. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston, and join me, as always, is Musum.
Hello.
Mina's taking a knee this month. We will hopefully see her next month. But until then, we will probably have enough... Sorry, I'm moving my microphone if you hear that. Hopefully we'll have enough stuff to talk about. Usually Mina buoys the content here in the show. But let's just get down to it. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
So I played a lot of games a little bit, and one game a whole lot. And I'll save that one game till the end, because it's very anticlimactic. But the newest thing I've been playing is Divinity Original Sin 2. That finally officially released on PC, and me and my friend John have been playing it. He's Sergeant Fluffy in the Discord.
I didn't realize that was on early access for so long.
Yeah, they used a lot of they used a lot of beta feedback on that game. Like, they would release levels and then change some things and kind of get some opinions on things. And
that's cool.
But it's like I backed it on Kickstarter at whatever price just got me the basic digital game,
right,
which I think was like $25 or $35 or something like that.
That's not bad.
So I have so far only played this game in multiplayer.
Okay.
I did confirm. I tried to get Susie to play with me once, but she fell asleep. She was too tired. But I did confirm that you can play couch co-op. Like, we had a Steam controller and a 360 controller plugged into my Steam Link, and we're playing it that way.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's a little unintuitive in figuring out how to set that up, because on the opening screen, you have to press the button to open player profiles and then create a second player profile for the other player to be, which is kind of something you naturally think about on console, but since it isn't actively showing you your player profile in the corner, you don't think about that being a thing. But so that game feels like a AAA game. Like that, like everything is voice acted, which I'm sure they told me in a Kickstarter update, and I just didn't think about it until I was there. And literally, you're getting the narrator's box, and some guy's reading it to you, which is crazy. Like, there's a skill to talk to animals in the game, and they have voice acting for all the animals, which is really entertaining. It's all pretty hammy, but
that's pretty great.
Like, we ran into this. We were playing earlier today, and my buddy ran into this dog that was real bummed about his owner not being there, and every time he walked up to him, he's like, I can't remember her name, let's say it's Miranda. He's like, Miranda, is that? Oh, you're not Miranda. And then you talk to him and say enough nice things, and he immediately starts telling you how much he loves you.
Right.
It's pretty cute. But this game, I think, solves a lot of the problems I had with the first one, because it's really easy to kind of screw yourself on your skill setup in these games.
Yeah.
And they have like a lot of prerequisite classes, but everything seems to gel together better. Where you just kind of pick 2 or 3 skills in every category, and then just whenever you pick something up, it says it needs this skill to use it or gain benefits from it, and you can kind of get pointed that way. But I've been doing the shadow something or other, I can't remember. But the 2 skills it starts me out with are a thing where I teleport behind someone and backstab them if I have a knife equipped, and then the ability to change an enemy into a chicken.
Okay.
The chicken thing only works like it's the way they have combat set up is they use action points where you can divide that up between your movement and your skills and such like that. So you can usually do 2 or 3 things in a turn. The way the enemies are armored has been throwing me off, and I think we really just kind of wrapped our heads around it today. Like, it's real simple. It's just like, it was surprising that they did it that way, and that they have 2 sets of armor, where they have a physical armor stat and then a magic armor stat, and then they have their health stat. And you have to get rid of either the physical or the magical to start doing damage to their health.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see. I took a bunch of notes. They have a bunch of pre-made characters. Like, the way they developed the game is they assigned a writer to each character. You know, so they probably had like some big skeleton outline for the main story, and then they have a writer making this exclusive story arc branch for their pre-made characters. But their pre-made characters are stat-wise entirely customizable.
Oh, okay.
So any of them you can pick. Some of them sound real cool, some of them don't. Like, you have a dwarf who used to be like a pirate captain or something like that, and
that sounds pretty cool.
The chick I picked was like some famous entertainer who has like a demon that lives in her head.
Okay.
So like it's kind of cool because on the character creation screen you just press the backstory or origin or whatever thing, and then it goes into kind of this, the character's talking to you and telling you their story. Like, it's not quite a cinematic, but like at the end of this chick's, when she starts talking about losing control in the thing in her head, like all these extra arms like come out from behind her head, and very horror-esque looking. But it's like you also don't, of course, have to do any of those either. But
yeah,
like, it's a really beautiful game, and the music is there. We had to lower the difficulty because we were getting our butts kicked though through it.
That's the thing I've heard the most, is the difficulty curve for a first time playthrough is really steep.
Well, I was looking on the forum too, and they were like, a lot of people were saying, yeah, until you get to like level 3 or 4, like the experience gain doesn't really balance out to where you can handle things too easily. So
weird.
Like, we were having trouble. Like, this one dude. So okay, I'll rewind a little bit. So our party is made up of the what's her name, Losi, something like that, is the chick I picked, and then he made a custom character. Then we picked up the Red Prince, who's this snooty lizard guy, which was like all the characters.
I like my lizards.
Yeah, like he's like ex-royalty or something. So my friend who made a custom character made a lizard, and when he walked up to the Red Prince was like, you might make a nice slave. Like, like, I don't. It's ridiculous. But and then we picked the skeleton NPC. Because skeleton is a race you may choose.
That's awesome.
And I say it's a race you may choose. You choose skeleton, and then you choose what race's skeleton you want to.
That's even better.
The thing about the skeleton is you can't go around without like a helmet or a face on, or people will freak out. So at the beginning of the game, like as I'm sure anyone who listens to Giant Beastcast heard, like your opening option is a bucket, where you put a bucket over your head.
All right.
And while my character may not have been a skeleton, she was definitely wearing a bucket and may still be wearing a bucket because it provides the best armor so far.
Right.
Anyway, so whenever you pick up the characters too, you get to define what their class is. They're basically like, yeah, I'm good at everything, and you just go down the dialogue tree and pick the thing that your team needs. You can have up to 4 characters in your group, and I believe the co-op goes up to 4 players too. You kind of invite people based on your Steam's friends list. I know you have open stuff, and they have like modules and things like that, but we haven't messed with that. So
yeah.
The story I'm not 100% sure on yet. Like you kind of start out as a prisoner. You are the Godwoken. The Magisters are gathering up all the Godwoken and putting them on this island. And they're doing that because they think the Godwoken are causing their leader not to ascend to godhood or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea if it has anything to do with the first game. I did not get very far in the first game, but
I remember hearing it's set like way after the first game. But maybe I might be thinking of something else though.
Gotcha. It may be. I have no idea. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Like you get a cool stylized cinematic intro, and then you're on a ship, and the ship is kind of your intro level where you go about it and can try your hand at quests, or you can do like we did and try and pickpocket everyone, fail, and then have to kill them.
Right. Sounds about right.
And then they have this really cool action sequence that happens at the end of the ship. And then you make it to the island and kind of explore and talk to other Godwoken. And everyone has these collars on so they don't use their powers, which are, I guess they're called source users. I'm not up on the mythology of this, but I think we're getting pretty close to getting off that island. We've only been able to play a couple times, but this is like I played a lot of Kickstarter games, as anyone on here who's listened to me knows.
Yeah. And
this is like way super high quality one.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it so far. I think if I were to start a new game on it by myself, I would do the easiest mode again, because normal mode is so ridiculously hard, and it's nice. Like the powers look so cool, and you have all these elemental effects that affect things like they have the Dragon Age cast the oil on the ground, light it on fire bit,
right.
But then you can also like cast a rain cloud and put out the fire, and if characters are wet, like it affects their stats in some ways, and like lots of little stuff like that that's very interactive, and it's it feels really good when you taunt the enemy into coming into an area and then light the whole thing on fire. Like
feels like playing The Sims again.
Yeah. But then it feels less good when they charge you and they're on fire and they attack you and you take some fire damage. But it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see more. It's just going to be a matter of time. I also started a new game on Torment. I really want to play more of this game before the end of the year, and they added a lot through DLC to the game.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not 100% sure what. I know one of them was like one of the Kickstarter tiers they had to put off doing just to release the game, because they took like 3 or 4 years to release the game. But I'm not quite caught up to where I was, but it's kind of nice knowing what some of the dialogue stuff is, and remembering some of the pitfalls from last time. And
oh, right.
it's kind of neat too, because the very first fight that I got into last time, I avoided this time.
Oh, cool.
Which I didn't know was an option. I figured that was the one combat you had to do or something, but
right.
But yeah, I don't know. That's still a cool world, and you know they got cool naming stuff. The Changing God and the Cast-Offs, and there are lots of Cast-Offs that all have tattoos that you can identify each other by, and kind of cruising the Changing God's memories to gain an advantage in situations. But I don't know. I'd really got to play more of that game. But I played a tiny bit of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah.
I'm not even out of chapter 1, I think, on that. But that is that game's got crafting in it.
Oh, okay. It's got everything.
Yeah.
Not only is it
crafting.
XCOM.
It's got skill trees. It's you can jump off of your friendly opponents to gain extra map coverage, and
that's cool.
like they have all these kind of chain things you can do where like, okay, I jump off my buddy to land near this enemy, and then I run up to the enemy and then punch him and then run back and then shoot him, and it's pretty cool.
That's one of the few games that makes me jealous I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, I just hearing all the podcasts talk about it, I'm like, I got to figure out how to do this. And then work kicked my butt for like a week, and I should have put the overtime money towards a credit card or something. But
yeah, but now you can play Golf Story.
Oh yeah, I've heard some people talk about that. I usually don't play golf games though, but
yeah.
What Mario plus Rabbids had against it was that I also downloaded Blaster Master and then spent like the whole weekend playing that, but that's not an RPG, so I won't get into it. But I'm sure I will talk about Mario Rabbids more. So the game I played the most, the game that has taken over my life, is Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Yeah, me too, man. I don't know why the bug bit me this time. We were talking about it during the pre-show. I think it's because I've been using my brother as a resource, because he's been playing for a really like a number of years, and I can ask him questions about like, hey, what's this thing mean? He's like, oh, it's just this. And it's like, okay, I appreciate it. I should probably look at the wiki, but cool, thank you.
Yeah, like I really only look at the wiki when I go to an exploration map.
Yeah.
Just because they have so many, like those hidden paths are hard to find. But,
yeah, and like half the time you just want to find the keys for the vaults and not have to go back there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I agreed to that. I don't know what you mean by keys to the vaults.
Oh,
I do. The Earth keys.
Yeah, those things.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I forget. Crap, I haven't been back there in a while. I bet I have a few keys I haven't cashed in.
Yeah, it seems like so like the very first landmass is like those 3 islands. It seems like every landmass after that has its own set of keys on it. Okay. So
yeah, I just got past the Wind Shrine into the water place.
Okay.
The man that what's his name? The Veritas of the Heavens.
Yeah.
I'm
not messing around.
Yeah, the first time I encountered him in that town, or maybe that was the second time, I don't know. But that time is the one I remember because, like, I had to stop playing the story, and then luckily there was, like, a cactar whatever going on, so I could
I ran into the same thing where I'm like, this is fine. I've been stomping all these other dungeons. He defeats me in, like, 2 turns, and I was like, surely I had to lose that, and it kicks me out to the main menu. And I was like, oh boy, okay, here we go.
Yeah, that was like that fight and all the other fights with him were super rough for me. But now I gotta like all my team is 6-star characters now. I got everyone ground up to that.
Who's your main team?
I'm mainly using story characters because I got here I wrote it down: Laswell, Rain, and Fina. Mm-hmm. But then I'm also using Chizuru. Mm-hmm. And Kefka.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, like, I think Kefka and Chizuru are kind of okay characters, like, in terms of what the community thinks, but I honestly have no idea who the community likes outside of 2B, that one guy from Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, Orlando?
Yeah, Lightning and Noctis. And
right. Yeah, my team is Lightning, Dark Knight Cecil, or Cecil? I never remember. Warrior of Light, 9S, and Beach Time Fina, which I was surprised when my brother was like, she's one of the best healers. I was like, okay.
Really? I got her. I don't have her leveled up. But
yeah, she's really good.
It cracked me up when I was like, wait, what? Did that... Oh, okay, I guess...
Who in a swimsuit? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing like that artwork in that, but...
Yeah.
Because I got her and I got Beach Time. I got Beach Time Lid before I got Lid.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I play this game at least probably about 30 minutes every day if I can, just to get the daily quest done. And leading up to the show, I don't talk about it on TVGP because I've been playing it for a while. We talk about like plenty of other mobile games on that show. I've been trying to figure out why I've been playing this so much, and I kind of think that once you get past like that first two areas, I kind of care about the story now. in a weird way that I didn't really think I would.
It has better story than the other Final Fantasy phone games that I've played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's... And Rain, I think, is a likable character. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the story is, but I did just get to the reveal about... Well, no, I think they tell you right after you beat the Veritas of Heaven who he is. Yeah, that's right, because his helmet falls off. And,
right, yeah.
And that was a neat reveal, and like I care about the story, and I'm like obsessed with trying to grind my guys up, but it really seems like the only plausible way to level everyone up is when they do those Cactar weekends where you can get those. But
I asked my brother about this, and I was like, "Hey, man, except for like the Cactar Dunes weekend, like, how the hell am I supposed to level these guys up?" What he said is build a party of 5 of people that you want to level up, and then go into like the Chamber of Experience or whatever it is, and get a really powerful friend unit and have them carry you through.
Oh, wow.
And like just go to the most powerful Chamber of Experience level or whatever it is, and then just have them, because like I have so many incredibly strong friends like Mina who's been playing this for years, and they're like, oh yeah, I have the best character and all their abilities are awakened, and I have like this perfect armor set for them, and I can use them to just sneeze on the enemies and they all fly off the screen basically.
Yeah.
So
man, I might have to do that, because I have so much. I know Mina told me like not to spend Lapis on a lot, but I have so much, like...
Yeah, because famously, the game's developers got hacked this month, or last month, and the hackers gave everybody 5,000 Lapis, which is a lot, and I've never spent money on it, and one of the recommendations in the Brave Exvius subreddit was, hey, use a lot of that money to expand your units and friends list and all that stuff. So that's what I did, because I figured, well, it's free Lapis, so why not?
I didn't even realize that's what the hackers did.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, we didn't steal anything. They apparently took like the plans for the banners that are going to be coming up, and then gave everybody 5,000 Lapis, which I think is like $50 or $70 worth per person.
I don't think you can directly buy Lapis, can you?
I thought you could, but I never remember where it is in the game. So my least favorite thing about this game is it's just big enough. So my phone here is a 16 gig iPhone 6, and it's just big enough that every time I exit it, my phone cleans it up automatically to free up space. So every time I open it, I have to re-download it.
That game takes a while.
Yeah, my brother was like, "Oh, it goes pretty quickly." And I was like, "No, man, it takes me like 5 minutes. I just want to like get in there and do my daily poll, but I can't."
Wow. Man, that's a trip about the... No wonder they kept... Like, I was getting real frustrated this last week where, like, the game was down for, like, 3 or 4 days of the last 7 days, you know?
Oh, we're doing maintenance. Everything's fine.
Everything's not on fire, please believe us.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, like, because I started playing right after last podcast. And I very quickly, like, the most Lapis I got up to was like 17 or 18,000.
Yeah.
And then when they finally got off the stupid Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 3 banners, I was like, screw this, I can finally get guys I might want.
Yeah.
Like, or that I'm already a fan of, and kind of did something I shouldn't have and spent the 5,000 on a, like 11 draw. Yeah.
Did you get anybody good?
I think that's when I got Kefka.
Nice.
That's my other problem is, like, I don't necessarily know who's good.
Yeah, where was I finding that information?
Like, I found a couple lists, and so, like, I got that, like, Warrior Light. I have him, so I've been working on him lately to try and get him up.
Yeah, he's, like the best tank in the game. It's awesome.
Mm. Well, and Fina, Beach Time Fina I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
And I had heard Dark Knight Cecil was good, but I don't have him.
Yeah, he's fine. I'm probably gonna get rid of him and put in Agrius from Final Fantasy Tactics, because Dark Knight Cecil, sorry, he's just fine, but he doesn't really do a ton that's really great.
Yeah, I don't... That's the thing that made me... Like, for a while I was using Vivi, because I love Vivi.
Yeah.
But, he maxes out at 4 stars, and I think he only gets one, Agra spell. I think most of his stuff are, like, Blazara and Thundara and all that. So, it breaks my heart, but I had to sideline him. But at the same time, I probably wasted a lot of time and resources having him in my party. But, like...
Yeah, I sort of take the attitude of, at some point I want to use the units that I really like. Like, I'm still using Lightning, and she's not the best, but I kind of like Lightning. And once you level her up to 100, she gets dual-wield innately. Like, that's pretty cool. And, like, she's one of the few, units that I have that are 6 stars when you pull them, that... I see them called rainbow units. It's like that's the color the crystal is, but I
have not gotten the rainbow yet, so
yeah, it's like a 1% chance, which is a super bummer. I feel like for me the ticket to Frustration Town is reading the subreddit and forums and wikis and all that stuff to try and find like the perfect group, when I would rather have a pretty okay group full of people I really like. Like 5 or 6 stars, because I have enough units at this point, rather than worrying about like, oh, I have to use this person because they're the best at X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's just it's like doing math. That's not not a great way of playing that game.
I definitely don't want to get to that point. Like,
yeah.
I need to get past to where I'm not using most of the story characters. I know that, but Rain's okay. I don't think I like Lastwell. I think is entertaining in the story scenes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great unit to use in battle.
No, it took me a while to get to that point because you level them up so quickly in the story that when you're pulling other units, they start at like level 1, and your Rain is level 30. It's like, well, I have to keep him in so I can level up the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I like that game. I don't think any of the... Like, I got most of the Final Fantasy 11 stuff on their last raid thing they did, and I have, I guess, most of the banner characters, but they're all at, like, 3 stars, and I don't know who they are, and none of them look that great, so I don't...
I'm in the same boat. I'm pulling these people from Final Fantasy 11. It's like, okay, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Shantoto, or whatever your name is.
Like, two of the main ones are like these little tiny people.
Yeah.
And then you get that one huge guy, Wary, or...
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, you look cool, but I also don't know if you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost wish there was like a Yelp-style rating in the game where it's like, you pulled a Wary, and the community says 4.5 stars. It's like, okay, yeah. they're probably good.
Well, and what bummed me out the most was, like, I pulled Shadow, and I'm like, oh, I love Shadow. And then, oh, this is one of the most hated units by the community.
I did the same thing, too. Like, I was using Shadow so early on. I was like, he's got the dog. He looks super cool when you awaken him. Like, he gets all glowy. And I was looking at the subreddit, and, like, when I started at a game, I just, like, read as much as I can on the subreddit to try and absorb. I don't know what half of you guys are talking about, but that's fine. And one person posted, like, they were still using Shadow, and they tore into that person. They're like, this is the worst. I can't use anybody other than Shadow, for the love of God. And it's like, just get out of my party, please. Sorry, Shadow.
Such a bummer. Like, arguably one of the most popular characters for anyone who's played that Final Fantasy. Like,
the good part, though, is I think we've been seeing it lately where every couple of months they'll be like, we powered up these characters, and they give a bunch of these characters like another star so they can go up 20 more levels, and they're like, we redid their skills, and they're like, we dropped these 10 skills and brought these new good ones in. So it seems like for a lot of those units, the impression I get is they'll have their day in the sun at some point, as long as they aren't like one of the 1 or 2 star units.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, and that is all I've been playing.
I finished Yakuza Kiwami. I think I resisted the siren song of side stories and slot car racing and gambling and all the fun side stuff in that game, and I just went straight through the main story with doing none of the extra stuff as much as I wanted to. And I finished that, I think, just shy of 15 hours. So it's a pretty short experience if you just sort of nose to the grindstone. I think the longer that I played Kiwami, the more I would recommend following the path that I did and starting with 0. The story in Kiwami is good, but I feel like they adhered so strictly to the story in the first one, and that leaves it with a lot of pacing problems overall. I think 0 was paced really well. Usually you'd do one primary objective in a chapter, it would leave you with a cliffhanger at the end. You'd do another chapter that would leave you with a bigger cliffhanger, and you'd switch to the other character. You'd do sort of 2 chapters on, 2 chapters off, and you'd keep switching back. One of my biggest problems with Kiwami, and it feels just like it's because it's a PS2 era game. There was just so much wandering around the game doing stuff. Like, and I could tell it was because they wanted you to explore the town. I keep avoiding calling it an open world game because it really isn't. It's just like an open city game. But like, as an example, you save this one girl and she sort of is with you for the majority of the rest of the game, and you see these thugs beating up a dog, and you save the dog by beating the crap out of the thugs, of course, because it's a Yakuza game. And she says, oh, he must be hungry. Okay, well, go to the convenience store, buy some food. Go back. Oh, he won't eat because he's thirsty. Run back to the convenience store, get some water. Oh, he can't drink it because he doesn't have a bowl. Run all the way across town, get a plate, then go back. Now he can eat and drink. And it's sort of like, for the love of God. Like, and there's so many times where, like, you would go to a place and they'd be like, and you'd be like, hey, I'm looking to meet someone. Are they here? And they're like, no, man, they're over at this other place. He goes, okay, see ya. And the objective switches to go to this other place. And it's like, oh, God. Okay. Like, and none of it's really bad. It's just compared to 0, where a lot of times someone would say, oh, they went to this other place. You'd get a loading screen. You'd be at the other place in a cutscene. Like, it knows you don't want to run over there, but when they give you a chance to wander around town, it's typically like, all right, we've got a little bit of time off. Why don't you go wander around the town for a bit? Like, a character that's talking to you says, hey, you've got some time. Go wander around town for a little bit. When you're ready, come back and we'll do the next mission. Like, that felt way more natural. Oddly, that felt way more natural in the Yakuza games than, I don't know, go over there. And it's sort of like, well, you can run into something while you're going. Contrary to what I've said, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm really excited for them remaking Yakuza 2, because I get the impression that, I think it's once you hit 3, that's when it starts getting really good. They took sort of the first 2 games to figure the formula out. And one feels, Kiwami feels a lot like that. Maybe some of those problems are exacerbated by the other character in 0, Majima, being shoehorned in the story in certain places in this one. Sometimes it feels good, and sometimes it feels like they just wanted me to play for 30 more minutes. But I think if I had played Kiwami without playing 0, I'm not necessarily sure I would have liked it. They don't intro a lot of the characters super well compared to 0, and the conflict is pretty good, but it's even better riding on the coattails of what happened in 0. Like, all the stuff that happened to the Tojo clan, the major Yakuza family, all of that stuff laid the groundwork for what happened in Kiwami. So you have a good mystery, and you have a good villain. You have everything is really good in Kiwami, but I feel like it's buffeted by what happened in 0. So I think Sega did right by launching this at $30. It is a way smaller experience than 0, which makes sense, but I really enjoyed it, and we were talking about it before we started recording here, that I am very happy they're remaking 2, and I hope they remake 3, 4, and 5 as well, because the Yakuza bug has bitten me, and I think I finally understand the appeal of this series. And if they could just keep giving me more of these games, that'd be great. Thanks. And I think we looked it up. Yakuza 6 comes out in March of next year, and I believe that's the last game for this main character. So they'll be switching to someone else for the series after that, which I know I haven't played the entire series, but I am already sort of like, yeah, but like, what if we don't do that? What if we just keep this same cool guy? Because he's cool and he has a heart of gold.
Did they bring that weird, like, alternate zombie storyline Yakuza thing over here?
Yeah, what did they call it? So there were two spin-off games. There was that one. I don't remember what that one was called. It came out over here. I have it on PS3. I think I bought it for like $2. Sega actually, the Yakuza team over at Sega US just did an AMA recently about the series on Reddit. And someone had asked them about the like medieval samurai Yakuza game, which I had totally forgotten about, that never came out over here. And basically they said, like, look, we have enough trouble localizing the modern day ones, even though there are so many things similar to Tokyo and the US. It would be an impossible amount of work to try and educate you about Japan and historic Japan and samurais and all of this other stuff that then localized. They're like, as much as we wanted to, it was just an impossible amount of work for us to do, which is a bummer, but
yeah,
maybe someone will do a fan translation. They have like another 10-year project to translate this or something.
What platform did it come out on?
PS3.
Oh, wow, so it is new enough that
yeah,
can just get it for PS1 and that. Well, no, it didn't come out for PS1. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I bet PS2 man. Okay, yeah, never mind.
But yeah, I think Kiwami was good, but I would still recommend Zero. I think Zero for me showed me what a modern Yakuza game is, and I think Kiwami showed me how far it's come. And I think I understand why I bounced off the first one. Horrific voice acting, English voice acting aside for the first one. I think it was just a sort of a meandering, sort of aimless game in the first one, and I would really recommend Zero. I think that's an outstanding experience. I understand that 2017 is a really hard year to find time to play games, especially one that is pretty long, but I keep seeing that on sale. That and Nier Automata I keep seeing on sale a lot lately. So if you're interested in playing either one of those, just keep an eye on the sales. I've been seeing them for $30 a pop. And those
I've been waiting to see it for $30 because I'm wanting to pick it up.
Yeah, that and Prey are on sale pretty recently. So, yeah, next time I see it on sale, I'll shoot you a tweet.
Sounds good.
But yeah, Yakuza 0 is great. Next game, Destiny 2 came out almost a month ago here now.
Man, I can't believe that wasn't our last podcast. It feels like it's been a while already.
I even went back to the show notes to say, like, we talked about Destiny 2. Oh, no, right. It came out, like, the next week after we recorded. Destiny 2 is sort of a hard game to talk about because I feel like in the last month we've talked about all of it. I'm sure Musum, you'll have questions, so please interrupt whenever you do.
Will do.
I think so. I played when Destiny 2 came out. I played a quiz on TVGP, and I asked Moon and Knobs who was the bad guy in Destiny 1's vanilla storyline, and they really couldn't come up with the answer.
At this point, I've listened to enough Destiny podcasts recently that I remember you go to the Vex's Black Garden.
Right. And basically the villain is the Darkness, which is like the boogeyman of Destiny 1, even all the way up until the end. Until basically in Destiny 2, they just get rid of the Darkness. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Bad stuff happened. Forget about it. I think the crowning achievement of Destiny 2 is that it tells a cohesive and cogent story throughout. It took me 20 hours to finish it on my first character, and that is without you don't unlock patrols or strikes or any of that stuff until you finish the story. So that was really me not exploring a ton, but kind of taking my time on a lot of these story missions. So it's definitely not like this 8-hour thing where it's like, yeah, we're gonna oh that's credits. Crap. Okay. I think the smart thing they do about Destiny 2 is the same thing they started doing with Destiny 1, starting with the Taken King, which is here are the story missions, and you're going to play those, and then when those are done, here's a whole host of stuff that all opens up at once, and now you can kind of take all of this stuff at your leisure. Like even to the point where you can't replay the story missions in Destiny 2. Like once you finish the story, you're pretty much done.
Oh wow.
Which is
that's a huge change from 1.
Yeah, which is sort of, I was talking about this on TVGP last week. This last month has had me sort of struggling with vanilla Destiny 2 is leagues better than vanilla Destiny 1. Obviously, that's like a real low target to make. Like it would be pretty hard to make it worse. But I think the hard part, and for a lot of people, they played vanilla Destiny 1 and they're like, well, I spent $60 for this? Like, I'm already done. What the hell? They're playing, like Moonpeer, they're playing Destiny 2 and saying, like, holy crap, there's so much more content to this. already at launch, this is an infinitely better game. And I agree. Like, there are only a handful of strikes, but they are way longer and way more interesting. And the bosses are better. The public events are, number one, they're on the map, which each planet has a map now. Public events are on the map where they have a countdown to when they're going to be there. Doing those on a planet per week all works towards a larger goal. PvP works towards larger goals. Like, there's all these mini daily and weekly goals that for much of Destiny 1's life it didn't really have. Did you play all the way through Rise of Iron in Destiny 1? That was the last DLC.
I did not.
Okay.
I stopped playing Destiny 1 after they what was it? The Awoken Queen Lady's new hub? Like, that was the last DLC.
House of Wolves?
Yeah, that sounds right. Like, I don't think I played, like, the last... Like, I played the first 2 or 3, and I don't remember how many pieces of DLC there were, but I'm fairly certain I played 50% of the DLC that came out.
So one of the harder things that I am having to reconcile is saying that Destiny 2 is better than vanilla Destiny 1 is true. I don't think there's anybody that would go like, well, there's a lot of stuff missing from Destiny 2 from Destiny 1 that I'm sort of missing, but I'm having a hard time internalizing the difference between launch Destiny 2 and Destiny 3 Rise of Iron Year 3. Like, the amount of content, for better or for worse, in Destiny 1 at the end was crazy. We had like 15 strikes, 33 PvP maps. We had like all these live events. There's one of the coolest things they did in Destiny 1 right at the very end was they had a heroic daily story mission playlist. So basically what that means is it'd be like, this week or today you're on Earth and Mars, and it would take a random story mission from one of those two planets, make it way harder, and put some modifiers on it. So it'd be like, oh, your abilities take forever to recharge, but you do more damage in the air. So like a lot of the Nightfall or the Heroic Strikes stuff did. That was cool. That's gone. Heroic Strikes are gone. We have 4 strikes this time instead of a bunch. We have 8 or 9 PvP maps instead of 30. And I understand that Destiny 1 had 3 years of ongoing development to sort of cumulatively get all of this stuff. But to go to a sequel and have that number of things to do drastically cut, and to be fair, replaced with a pretty significant amount of stuff, is a little bit hard. And I'm fighting with myself because on one hand I say, nobody played Destiny 1 when it was done. Like, there was so much stuff, and a lot of it had been fixed by the end, and it was really a game that finally got there 3 years later. It eventually, 3 years and a lot of DLC later, it finally got there. And Destiny 2 is really good in a lot of ways, but the size of it is smaller. But then on the other side of the coin, it's like the worst kept secret that one of the biggest problems with Destiny 1 from a development side was it was almost impossible to make new content for that game. I'm sure Jason Schreier reported it at Kotaku, but there was an engineer that said, like, look, if we want to move a rock on Mars a couple of inches, we have to spend 12 hours to re-render that level. Like, just to move this one thing over a little bit. And the engineer said, like, imagine how hard it is to make new stuff in that engine. So it's understandable that when you go into Destiny 2, you sort of have to throw all that out, because that's all old engine, old game stuff. And as a side note on that, I'm still very frustrated with people that are like, well, this really feels like Destiny 1.5. It plays the same. It's like, well, yeah, they didn't throw out the parts that worked. The shooting was like one of the few things that worked.
That was fairly ridiculous to expect Bungie to change the main, like, I mean, it's a sequel, right? It's not a... All games do that. They keep the core, unless you're Dragon Age, they keep the core mechanics.
Well, like, do you want this to be like a turn-based SRPG now? Like, the shooting was great in Destiny 1 from day one. They have done a little bit of work to smooth some of the edges there. And, yeah, it plays the same because Bungie has historically made great shooters. So why the hell would they change it? And I'm sure they're sort of in a rough position because even if they wanted to, they couldn't carry over content from Destiny 1 because that just feeds this BS narrative of like Destiny 1.5 where it's like, oh, well, yeah, we got all these strikes, but half of them are from Destiny 1. Blech. You know, like this $60 for this. So I was talking to someone from the community, Maximus Prime, while we were playing Destiny 2 PvP the other night, and it's like Bungie has to be in a hard place because so many people from the community hate Destiny 2 but can't stop playing it. It's like it's like that friend you have that's like, I don't know why I hang out with you guys. Like, you guys are so mean to me every night. F you guys, I'm going home. See you tomorrow. You know, it's like a lot of what Bungie hears is like, guys, this game sucks. There's not enough stuff to do. I played it super hard for 2 straight weeks. I like putting in 10 hours a day. I put in like 400 hours these past 2 weeks. Where the hell's the rest of the content? And it's like, what? Well, I can't make it faster than that. Like, you played it too much. Like, Maximus Prime and I were laughing because we're sort of playing it at the optimal speed right now, which is I get maybe 5 hours a week. Like, once I got through the main story, I play a bit of PvP, maybe I'll run a couple strikes. I have 0 time for the raid. I have enough trouble with Destiny 2 because I can't pause it. But, like, the thing needs to be reiterated from Destiny 1. It's okay if you play Destiny alongside other stuff. Like, Destiny doesn't need to be, you know, every hour I sit down and I play something. It has to be Destiny 2.
I mean, that has to be why those types of people resent that game, is because they have just spent every waking hour with it, right? Because if I do that with a game and that game doesn't end, which is every online game ever, right? Then I start to become very bitter about it because it's taking up all my time. It's becoming work, and and I know it's difficult to manage that type of attitude within yourself, but like, you know, like, I mean, for a while I was playing Warframe for a while, and I just stopped playing everything else, and I can't do that. It makes me bitter about whatever I'm playing, and I can't have a fresh attitude towards it, and I you know, it's like you hate it, but you hate people that insult it, and it's not. But I
still have loot to get. I can't just stop this garbage game.
It's not a good place to be, you know.
Well, and I think part of the frustration from the community stems from a lot of the stuff they removed from Destiny 1 that fundamentally made up Destiny 1's loot treadmill. So, like, the Grimoire is gone. Just completely. So, Grimoire score, cards, all those goals where it's like, kill 200 Fallen on Earth and you get some bonus. I don't even remember what it was. That's probably why they got rid of it. All that stuff is gone. It is replaced by, on exotic weapons and armor, when you're looking at it and you hold L2, it pops out a lore tab and has all the lore about that specific piece of gear. Which is fine, but you can't do a lot of that to other stuff in the world. Anyway, like, that stuff is removed. I think for a lot of the community, one of the biggest pain points they alleviated, but it also destroyed the loot, the treadmill, is every gun has one set build. So when you play Destiny 1, if you'd pick up a hand cannon, let's say Better Devils, I think, was a hand cannon in Destiny 1. Well, let's say AS Luna, one of the most famous hand cannons. You would pick it up, and it would have random perks on it. And part of people's love of the treadmill in Destiny 1, and mine as well, was I'm going to keep doing these events until I get that perfect roll for this perfect gun, and then I will destroy X, Y, and Z, whatever content I'm trying to do. And I like loot games, and I like the loot treadmill, so I was happy to do that. In Destiny 2, Better Devils is a gun that's back. When you get a Better Devils, it only has one set of perks on it. And that's the only set of perks that will ever drop on that gun. So, from two sides, it removes that loot treadmill that a lot of people hated, especially in PvP, where it's like, well, I have this gun, why isn't it as good as this other gun? They're shooting me from across the map with a hand cannon. And also, Bungie would have to balance that stuff, where it's like, okay, well, we have to destroy all hand cannons because this one gun is really good for this perfect drop. And it seems like the community doesn't like that, because it's one less thing to farm for. Which I understand, but in the case of PvP, like I was saying, if you have this gun that someone else has, and they kill you with it, they just outgunned you. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I have this perfect, it does more damage, it does more headshot damage, and it shoots like a sniper rifle, and it, you know, a laser shooting unicorn shoots out of the butt of it. Like, nothing like that. It's just, they played better than you did, and I think long term that's probably fine, but short term, as the hardcore run out of content, it's another thing for them to gnash their teeth against. And then the whole debacle with shaders. But
well, that was a bad decision by. I can't imagine that was something like that. That seems like something a publisher would come up with to include in something instead of a developer.
What's crazy is you really can't buy those shaders from Eververse. Like, it's so for anyone listening that hasn't heard of it, basically in Destiny 1, shaders, you had this kiosk, and you had all these shaders, and it changes the color of your entire armor set when you apply that shader to your character. And you would drop, a shader would drop typically from, like, you can get these 10 from PvP, or you get these 5 from doing strikes, and here's your shader from, you know, famously the Vault of Glass has a cool all-white shader when you beat it, chatter white. That stuff would be permanent. And in Destiny 2, what they decided to do was take that system and make shaders consumables, and also you can only put them on one piece of armor at a time. So, like, if you want to put yourself in, right now I'm wearing like all cool purple shiny gear, I had to put a purple shiny shader on each of my 4 armor pieces. The knee-jerk reaction from the community was not kind, understandably. My knee-jerk reaction was, I love collecting stuff in games like these, especially if you give me a kiosk, which is now, none of those kiosks are actually in Destiny 2. I loved going to the kiosk when new content would drop and be like, okay, I need to get this, that looks cool. I need to play a bunch of PvP, that one looks cool. Oh, there's a new one from the Heroic Raid, never see that, okay, that looks cool though. And replace it with basically the chroma system from Destiny 1, which it now seems like the community has switched to. It has switched from, oh my god, I don't have any shaders, this is such a dumb idea, to, can we please bulk delete shaders, because I have 200 of these, and I can only delete one at a time, and man, I just have these things just everywhere in my vault. It's still a confusing choice, because that's like the one system that didn't need to get changed. But here we are, I guess. And I had the same thing where it's like, I didn't know about the loot box stuff in Eververse from the beginning. Like in Destiny 1, when you leveled past level 20, every time you leveled up, you would get a handful of motes of light, which you'd use to level up gear. Motes of light and that whole light system is gone. Now you get a bright engram, and the only place you can decrypt that is at the Eververse. Thankfully, it gives you things that you could also buy from the Eververse, but it feels a little bit scummy getting this free bright engram to bring to the lady that takes your real money so that she can give you stuff while you're also looking at the stuff where it's like, hey man, you just buy silver and you just get way more of these. Like there's a 10-pack of bright engrams, look at all those things, it's just there for $20. You know, like it feels a little bit. And that's where I thought it would be like, hey man, we got all the shaders. Like you could just buy whatever. That's really not the case. They have stuff, you can buy bright engrams for real money, which you don't need to do. For any reason. But there's also this selection of like 10 to 14 things at the bottom where when you decrypt stuff you get out of bright engrams, you get bright dust out of it. You can buy stuff on there for bright dust, which is like weapon ornaments, sparrows, emotes. Like there are exotic emotes now that your ghost will draw something on the screen. Like one of the famous early ones is you draw a table with a whole bunch of stuff on it and then you flip it over. That's an exotic emote. So overall, Destiny 2 is really good. There's a lot of stuff different from Destiny 1, and I think in a lot of ways Bungie had to go in there with just an axe and just cut it down to the minimum part that makes Destiny 2, the Destiny fun, which is I want to shoot a bunch of aliens, and then you put a cohesive story on it. There are problems with the main villain. There's a lot of mustache twirling, where it's like, yes, I'm going to do the evil thing. You know, like, but it's well voice acted, it's well presented. It's, as I said again, cohesive, which the first game didn't have until The Taken King, which was 3 expansions in. I think overall it's a better idea that I think will pay off long term by taking 2 steps back so they can take a bunch of steps forward by laying a better groundwork for Destiny. And I bought the limited edition, so I have the season pass either way, so I'm hoping the first 2 pieces of DLC are good, but we'll see. There's a after the credits, since Museum hasn't finished it, I know a lot of other people haven't because they're waiting for the PC version. There's a little after credits thing with Destiny 2 that introduces something we've never seen before, and that is really exciting because there are 4 new planets. One of them is the European Dead Zone on Earth, so it's new-ish. Also, the guy who plays the NPC on Earth, who voice acts it, is Balthair from Final Fantasy XII.
Oh wow!
I'm so happy to hear that guy's voice in a very prominent role in Destiny 2. He was in Destiny 1 like a little bit. But there were no new enemy races in Destiny 2. It was just, the Taken, the Fallen, the Vex, the Cabal. So I'm hoping that now that Destiny 2 gets started, that they will start introducing more stuff to sort of take this stuff forward a little bit. So I think the first piece of DLC comes out in like a month or 2.
I mean, all the Destiny 1 DLC, I think, like from what I remember of it, I remember liking all the Destiny 1 DLC. I remember my main issue was the light system and the way they made leveling up and just how frustrating it was to navigate that and grind for that. And I'm sure whatever content they come up with is good. I think the only pitfalls they might be in whatever economy they introduce or change.
Yeah. Well, and I think Speaking of economy and the power system, the economy is simplified now. The amount of glimmer you can carry on you is 100,000 now, instead of whatever is 25,000 in the first game.
Yeah.
Strange coins are out. Motes of light are out. Shards, all that stuff is out. You have 3 currencies: glimmer, that bright dust I was talking about before, and then legendary shards, which is the things you use to infuse other stuff. And if you break down exotic or legendary stuff, it gives you shards. So it's a much, much simplified system. Same thing with infusion. They actually changed infusion where, far too late in Destiny 1, before it was like, I infuse this thing and this other thing, and you get 80% of the light value. At some point, they finally went 1 for 1. So you have like a 300-piece gear, fuse 380 into it, it's now 380. They bring that back in Destiny 2. The only small wrinkle that I thought was going to be a big problem originally, and it turns out to not be, is for weapons. You can only infuse a weapon with a higher power level of the same type. So, like, let's say I have a 200 auto rifle that I really like. I can only infuse another auto rifle into that auto rifle. So you can't just take, like, a kinetic weapon and toss that in there. It has to be another auto rifle. Which, on the surface, sounds worse, but that game is giving you so much gear so quickly that it's often not a problem. So, I feel like at most turns, I shared a lot of the frustrations with a lot of systems in Destiny 1. I think they took a long, hard look at a lot of that stuff and said, okay, how can we remove the BS from a lot of these systems? And I think largely they did. So, and we were talking before the pre-show about, for some reason I thought Musim was playing Destiny 2 on PS4. I don't know why.
When I get it, it will be on PS4.
Yeah, and thankfully... So here's one last cool thing, because I could probably talk about this for a while, and I have another game to talk about, which is even cooler. The clan does something now. Hooray! There's a seasons for the clan, which they haven't really announced what it's going to do. I think they do that in like 2 weeks or so. But basically, as you get experience, you're also feeding some of that experience into the clan. So the clan overall is leveling up. As the clan levels, you get better rewards, you get better drops. You get to keep the staff for your banner, which is weird. But I think the coolest system is there are 4 events per week: Trials of the Nine, the Raid, the Nightfall, and PvP. If you go and you complete any of those events, if anybody in the clan can do this, where half or more of the party are clan members, if you successfully complete that, every single member of the clan gets a purple engram that's higher light level than they are. Power level, sorry. So, like, often on Tuesday, by the time I get to Destiny in the evening, somebody's already finished the Nightfall, and someone's already finished, won a match in PvP. So everybody in the clan gets 2 free high light level engrams. That's awesome. Like, that's all I want. Like, that's all you needed to do in Destiny 1. I'm sure they couldn't, but, it's all that little stuff where it's like, okay, cool. Now we have, like, almost 70 members in the clan. Because now instead of 20 that we had in Destiny 1 because it didn't do anything, now there's a real benefit for doing all this stuff. Is there any member limitation? 100. So, oh, geez. That's not so bad. Pressure's on for me. You can apply now. I think you're already in it. If you're in it, you're good. And if anyone's waiting to play on PC, you can join the clan now, and then once you hop in on the PC version, once you hit a couple of levels, you'll be able to pick up your clan banner from the social space. Okay, yeah, no, I just did a Google thing and went to Bungie's website and logged in, and it says I'm still in E1M1. Yep. I assume there's not different for
Like, did you have to recreate it for Destiny 2 or anything?
No, there was a confusing period where I had to promote the clan from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, but it broke it for a while, sort of on purpose. One of the problems they had in Destiny 1, and thankfully they got rid of this, is you could only be in one clan, but you could be a member of multiple groups. So some people were like in one clan and part of like 30 different groups that were all chatting, but all those groups had a clan associated to it. Now it's just you can only be a member of one clan, which has one group associated to it, and basically that's your clan's forum now.
Okay.
So it's a much more intelligent system. I don't know why they did it like that in Destiny 1. That was weird.
Cool. Yep. Yeah. I'm still a member of the PlayStation version, so.
All right. So yeah, Destiny 2, so far so good. As long as you don't poop socket and just play 80 hours a week, which I guess is bad for the streamers. Yeah, but
yeah, I guess that would be true, huh? But yeah. I mean, if they do what they did last time, I'm sure they're going to have events like every month that they.
We just got done with an event where the three main factions came back: New Monarchy, Future War Cult, and Dead Orbit, and you pledged to one of those events or one of those factions. You do all this stuff to get tokens, and basically, whoever wins at the end, their weapon was on sale. So Iron Banner's coming back next week. You know, they're starting to ramp up for all this stuff. You know, they even did as soon as the very first team beat the raid, a PvP map inspired by the raid went live in Destiny 2.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so like there's already some stuff where it's like, okay, that is clearly better than what was going on in Destiny 1, where it's like, I don't know, it's Tuesday, here's a PvP map, maybe? You know, this is clearly tied. So far so good. I'm playing a little bit here and there and enjoying it, which is more than I could say for a lot of Destiny 1.
Cool.
But last but not least, I am also here to talk about a Kickstarter success 2 years in the making. The sort of weirdly titled Battle Chasers Nightwar.
Oh, right. I forgot you got this.
Yeah, I forgot I pledged to it. They kept sending those, monthly. This is one team that really got it right. They kept sending those monthly emails where it's like, here's the art, and we just finished the intro, and here's the cool stages we met, and I just wouldn't read any of it. Out of no malice. It's just like every time they would send it, I had no time to read any of this stuff. So it's been a pleasant surprise playing this game. It's, I think, $20. It was founded by Joe Mad, the comic book artist, who I remember from the Darksiders games. The art in the game is heavily influenced by him. Basically, this studio, it's called Airship Syndicate, which is a really cool name. They made a JRPG. Just a flat-out, your party's on the left, the enemies are on the right, we have a turn order on the side of the screen, you're picking skills, they cost MP. But like what a lot of people have been saying with Destiny 2, where it's like, this is Destiny without all the BS, they sort of made a JRPG without all the JRPG BS. Like, I was pleasantly surprised when I got into my first fight, they didn't do the Final Fantasy thing where it's like, you need to pick attack. That attacks the enemies. It's just like, no, man, you know what attack does, and every time you hover over a skill, it's going to do a pop-out and it'll tell you, this does 85 damage to one enemy and causes 15 bleed damage over the next 3 turns. You know what that means. If not, you're going to find out real quick. So thankfully, like, you go through a whole dungeon without them really tutorializing you, and it felt really good. And I have put about 15 hours into this game since it came out on Tuesday, which I'm not sure where I found that time. I looked at the clock before I came up here. I really, 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 really like this game. I'm running into some problems now, which thankfully the developers are addressing. Has a bunch of crash bugs on PS4, which was really interesting. The developers came out and said, like, look, we're really sorry. We're working very hard to fix it right now. Here are a couple workarounds. To be honest, this didn't show up in our dev environment or QA or certification or anything. Only when it went live did this stuff happen. So we have no idea. It's unacceptable and we're sorry. I was like, okay, that's cool. And when the game came out, they came out with this huge list of things they're going to fix really quickly, like it's too hard to get gold, or once you hit the halfway point in the game, it becomes way too punishing, which I believe I have just run into right now, where I started a dungeon, I'm level 11, and my entire party got one-shotted by an enemy that was level 15. Just random enemy, not a boss.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was sort of like, well, let's go do some side content. I think what I like about this game is it combines the standard JRPG turn-based, turn order on the side battle system, which is really solid and really fast-moving, and combines it with almost Torchlight, like almost Diablo, where when you go into a dungeon, the dungeon layout is randomized, but you're often going to see, like, the rooms aren't randomized. You'll often see, like, oh, here's this one room I've seen before when I ran this dungeon the last time. Certainly not in a bad way. It's just sort of, you see tile sets in some of these games. It's very much like, oh, here's the one room with the fire traps in it. Okay, right. Cool. So I think those two things combined, it's like crack to me. Like, I can't, anytime I get a little bit of time, I have to go in, I have to play a little bit more of this game. In addition, there are 3 difficulties for each dungeon. Basically, you go in and you do, like, the common difficulty, and you can go back into it to do the blue or the purple ones, and it gets harder and harder the higher you go up, and if you die in the purple dungeon, it kicks you out and you have to restart the whole dungeon over again. So there's a cool little risk-reward there. But you get way better rewards for doing the most difficult one. There is fishing, there's crafting, there's enchanting, there's something they call the... what do they call the fishiary? Is the bestiary for fish. The bestiary is really cool because the more enemies, they have basically like experience bars for pages in the bestiary. It's basically like if you defeat 100 enemies in this one land mass, all of your party members will get like 5% more experience. Or if you beat 50 bandits, you get 1% more stamina permanently. So like it encourages you to go back and run through these dungeons again, because not only are you going to get better loot, you're going to get better stats, you're going to get more experience, you unlock all these permanent bonuses, and it's really good. I really wish it didn't have the name. I know Battle Chasers is a comic book series by Joe Mad. It's just that Battle Chasers Nightwar sounds like it sounds like an 80s TV show that a BBC comedy show would make fun of. It's like Battle Chasers Nightwar, like rawr, like it just, the name itself is bad. It's beautiful. The soundtrack is great. The battle system feels really fun. I am genuinely surprised at how great this game is. I saw some positive buzz about it before it came out, and now that I've played about 15 hours into it, it's going to have to really poop the bed hard for it not to make it pretty high on my top 10 this year. Just out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just seems to be how this year's been going.
Yeah, like, I had that with Prey, where Knobs bought me a copy of Prey, and I was like, okay, I'll play it. And 5 hours later, I was like, oh my god, it's so good. It's like, and same thing with Yakuza 0, where I was like, alright, I guess I'll try this Yakuza thing, whatever. And then it was like, oh, okay, it's one of the top X number of games this year. Okay.
Yeah. Man. Like, and I backed Battle Chasers Nightwar 2, but at the last minute, I was like, you know what? I don't have time to play this right now.
And
I've started and stopped.
Like, they didn't need our help.
Yeah. I've started and stopped too many games right now. I think I would be more likely to play this game on the Switch, which their Switch version was delayed.
Yep.
So I just opted for that version. When that comes out in a month or whatever it is, then I'll hopefully spend some time with it.
Well, I think you'll get the benefit of the patches that they're going to be putting out to smooth all these crash issues, to smooth all the progression issues. They got a lot of really good feedback from the beta versions they did, which I didn't play. And then, they say the only thing that's holding them up for the Switch version is they're waiting for Unity to get updated so that they can put games on the Switch. And then apparently, once they can push that button, it will just come out on the Switch. Which is another thing. I really appreciate how open and honest this company has been. Like, for the last couple of months. Like, as soon as they knew the Switch version was going to be in trouble, they said, this is probably not going to launch day and date. If you'd like to switch to another platform now, we will let you do so, and you will get it on launch. If not, it will be coming out. We'll keep you up to date, but it'll be delayed. And I thought that was great, because they could have just gone to the release date, and people like, hey, I don't see it on the eShop, and they're like, oh, funny story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll bring it back up again here next month, because I'll probably have finished it by then, but I'm hoping to give it like an official stamp at some point where it's sort of... I'm hoping that this next patch that comes out, 1.03, will kind of smooth all the rest of the rough edges on it, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it. So far, really great, and I would really like to be playing more of it now.
Cool. Sweet.
Do you want to take a break, or do you want to move right into releases?
We can move right in. Do you mind if I add a small news story?
No, sure. We can do that while we're talking about releases. So RPG releases for October 2017. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen comes out for PS4 and Xbox One on the 3rd. Dragon's Dogma was one of my favorite games of the last console generation, and they have done so much work to remaster this. They could have just bumped this up to 1080p and pushed it out and called it a day. They redid basically all of the graphics, the entire graphics engine. They put all the DLC in there. This looks really great. If you've ever been interested in Dragon's Dogma, it seems like this is the version to play. Dragon's Dogma is really great and really crazy.
I hate how little time I have to play games, because I've always wanted to play Dragon's Dogma. Every time you guys have talked about it, I think I've said, man, I should play that soon, and I just never have.
It just needs to come out in a worse year. Like, maybe 2018 will be bad. You could have pushed it till then.
You know what?
I guess now it'll be just cheaper.
Give me a Switch version. Put that new version on the Switch, and then I won't have an excuse, because I can take it with me. Yeah. Although, truth be told, Atlas needs to hurry up and release a Persona or Shin Megami Tensei case for my Switch.
Yeah, to protect that thing.
Because I can go buy a Zelda one right now, which would be cool, but I know that's what Atlas is going to do at some point.
Yeah, it'll be a pre-order bundle for something they have coming out.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? Switch version of Persona 5. Here's a case.
Done. I'll take it. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Just an incredibly long title. It comes out on the 3DS on the 3rd. I have lost track of the Super Mario and Luigi series here, so I could not tell you what is different about this game. I'm sorry. A game I'm excited for and have zero time to play, so I won't be picking up. Etrian Odyssey 5 Beyond the Myth comes out on 3DS on the 17th. That game looks really good. And I know I would need to put about 100 hours into it, which I would really enjoy. But I don't have that time. And also, like, what is Atlas going to do with the Etrian Odyssey series now that the 3DS is going to start getting sunsetted?
So something I'd really like to see is back, in the late 80s, early 90s, when all of these style games started being phased out and whatever, they started releasing collections. where you could get like all the games on one thing. So what I want to see for Etrian Odyssey, and I don't know how they do the map making on the Switch screen,
right?
But at the same time, like the Switch screen is large enough. I'm holding it up for the audience. Like you probably could split it in two and have the map on one side and
right,
in
or
the
even
regular
have
game,
you hold it, vertically, and then have.
Oh, that would be a cool thing. Like do a rotate and get it to pop up. But like if they just did like an Etrian Odyssey collection,
just
for
1
the
through
Switch,
5.
Like
be cool.
give me the remakes that they keep doing. But
sure, yeah. I'd hate to see that series go away because it's so good and it's so cool, and we don't really have a lot of map drawing games right now.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see that go away. Speaking of SMT, I don't know why I said that. This is a different game. I was thinking of Fire Emblem Warriors is coming on the Switch and the 3DS on the 20th. I was thinking of Shin Megami Tensei Warriors, but that's not really a thing.
No,
not yet, at least.
That would be. I would play the crap out of that. Like, who would they even make the player characters? Would it be all the summons, or would it be the?
I don't know. I would
player?
like it if they would make it in Nocturne style, though.
Like expand on that. Like you mean like the
just
Nocturne
art style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool looking.
The PS2 era of Shin Megami Tensei games, I think, had the coolest models out of everything. Yeah. Like, granted, their stylizations have gotten a lot cooler over the years with Persona 4 Golden and all that, and the new one. But like, man, they just they picked the right type of way to draw those characters to make them like more timeless than you would get out of something that's photorealistic.
Yeah. I mean, you can even look back at some of those characters like Pixie from the NES and the Super NES days, and like you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's okay, that's still Pixie. Like we still have that same Pixie here.
Yeah.
30 years later, That's pretty cool. And last but not least, Destiny 2 comes out on the PC on the 24th. Let's move into our short news stories. It's still coming out. The Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer expansion called Comrades comes out on October 31st. This is not an April Fool's thing. Still a thing that's happening.
I really like Final Fantasy 15. But I'm questioning who is playing this content that they're coming out with.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a lot of people playing a lot of the DLC because it was like it's focused on one specific character. It was coming out every couple of months, but between this and that VR fishing game for PSVR, it's sort of like I love Square when they just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But both of these are pretty weird.
Yeah.
So, and last but not least, Musim just put a Warframe story in here.
Yeah, so they've been having a special where if you have Amazon Prime and you sign up for Twitch Prime, which is free with Amazon Prime,
right,
and then link your Warframe account to that, they'll give you Frost Prime, which is a rare Warframe that will work really good late game too.
Okay.
Well, now with this new expansion that they're doing, they're also going to start give away two of the best weapons of the game. The Soma Prime, which is probably arguably the best rifle in the game, and the Shindo Prime, which is just a really cool giant axe thing. It's pretty good. Like the cool thing about the big melee weapons in Warframe is they have a mod called, I believe it's Berserker, where every time you score a critical hit, your speed goes up.
Oh, wow.
And since big weapons are notoriously slow, you wind up just constantly adding in that multiplier until you're
pinwheeling it in front of you.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun. But anyway.
Yeah,
that's it.
Is that expansion out yet? The basically let's put exploration zones like Destiny in a Warframe?
That is coming out this next week.
Nice. That's super cool. I keep reading about stuff like that, and I keep feeling myself getting pulled towards Warframe, and I have to go, no, Foul Temptress. I have no time.
It's pretty all-encompassing. But they've said that because my initial thing was, man, this isn't going to be available till late game. They're getting all these people excited for something that no one's going to be able to access for 20 hours. But they said on stream that it will be available very quickly after you finish the opening quest, Vor's Prize. And Vor's Prize, I think, takes 4 to 6 hours to complete.
That's not bad.
I can't remember if they make you make something in Vor's Prize. If they do, then make that 24 hours, because you'll have to make something and wait on it. But
right.
Yeah, I haven't played Warframe for a month or two. I figure I'll just go all out when this expansion comes in for a while, and then shelve it again, because that seems to be a way to keep myself with a healthy attitude towards that game.
Yeah. All right, that's our news stories. We don't have any emails or tweets this week, so that's our episode. You can find us at pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickinguppixels. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. Join the Discord server. All those links and everything else on the right-hand side of the page. Musim, where can we find you?
You can buy my music at musim.bandcamp.com, also on iTunes and all that. And listen to my other podcast, The Carousel, at thecarouselpodcast.com, also on all the other services.
Want to put a plug here for this show's and the other show's Patreon, patreon.com/E1M1. You get a bunch of cool free stuff. Well, you get a bunch of cool stuff for being a patron. It's not free, I'm very sorry. Like at the $1 tier, you get to see the show notes that I write out. Like some of the ones I have handwritten here. And I write a little bit about the week's episodes. $2 you get early access to some weekly shows. $5 you can hang out with me and edit the shows. We get to chat together while I edit. You don't get to edit them. I'm sorry. I'm misleading everybody here. Patreon.com/E1M1. I have 2 goals on the site. It is hopefully very clear on what I'm raising money for. It's basically help me pay for these shows. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I don't have a job that pays. So, every dollar helps. And the way that Patreon divvies up taxes, even if you only dip in for $1 a month, that helps a ton for how it calculates all that stuff. So, and listen to the other show, That Video Game Podcast, tvgp.tv. That's it. Thank you for joining me yet again, Musim.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you all. Our adventures continue next month. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching live. We will see you next month. Bye.